Okay, so the previous video lasted a bit long, so I couldn't fit all of my trading pairs in. So we're doing part 2. Part 1 covered the Euro US dollar, the Euro Japanese yen, and the Australian dollar Japanese yen. So carrying on from there, we've now got the US dollar Canadian dollar. So carrying on from yesterday's analysis, we can see it was in a sideways motion between the support lines here. We'll try and go a bit quicker, I think, so we can fit all the pairs in. And we'd reached a point where it broke through minor support here. It reached more of a major support down here. And I think it was just coming through. It looks like it already come through. Come down to here. Yes, it wiggled on there. Come down to here, hence our support line. We were predicting here on the pink line that it was going to bounce and maybe come down. As it did, it wiggled and then came down. So we didn't take this trade, but we had put on what we would have done. But the stop loss we couldn't set until further action happened. So the stop loss would have been around about here. As it turns out, that would have been a really good trade, 3.81 to 1 on a short position. Based on that, we didn't take it. It seems to have broke through our pink watch line around about 3:30 in the morning again. So same time as the other one. So something happened about 3:30 in the morning, UK time. And looking at the other charts, 7 AM UK time as well. So it broke through and then continued down. Let's see where 7 o'clock is. No significant 7 o'clock. And we would have had a winning trade. So it's looking like I might have to start getting up at 3:30 in the morning. Don't fancy doing that, but never mind. Right, so now we need new support lines now. So we're going to bring these lines down because these points are no longer really relevant. So we'll just bring them down to the more recent time frames. So our pink support was here, so that was nice. So now this one's on its way down. So we can see we're looking for a bounce maybe here then, aren't we? So we could put a small support line there, but we don't really know yet because it's on quite a downward trend. So we have bounced up as well, so really we could add a support here or resistance here, so it may well consolidate between these points here. So we need to wait and see what that one's going to do. It looks like it's coming down, so if we draw on what we predict it's going to do, so we're going to predict that it comes down. Now when it reaches this point it has two options. It could bounce and it can carry on consolidating for a while, eventually shooting up past this resistance here, in which case we'll do a long position after the height of these wicks here. Or, which looking at the downward trend it's in at the moment, so it's a possibility, could come down to here, break through this minor support, return to the what would then be minor resistance, and then move on downward trend, in which case we would then do a short trade. So looking at this, we're looking for a long there or a short there. So we could add the text just to remind us what we're looking for. So that one would be a long trade. If it does that, because we've got plenty of room here from there to the previous support levels, 0.14, 0.25, so that would be plenty if we could go from there to there. Okay, so and then coming down, if it breaks through, bounces back up, continues with resistance and drops, then we'd have a nice short position here. So we'll have to wait and see and watch that one and come back to it over the course of the day. So I'm going to put a little horizontal line, a vertical line, sorry. Start doing that now so we know where we were at last time we looked at it. There you go. So that's where we looked at it last, just to remind us. And we'll see what happens. And then moving on, we now have the Euro GBP, so Euro to the pound. One of my more favourite ones. So it looks like when we left it yesterday, we were at this point here. Getting a bit messy, this chart, could do with clearing all the data. What I will do, I'll start all the charts completely blank at one point, and we'll fill in all these little bars, lines and dots and stuff from scratch together, just to give you an idea of what we're doing. Not that I really know what I'm doing, but it's a learning process and we can learn together. So yesterday when we left it, the Euro pound had gone up, which would imply the Euro's getting stronger or the pound's getting weaker. Looking at the previous charts today, it implies the Euro's on a strong run. Maybe there's some news we don't know of. Who knows? Let's just bring that down there. Right, so we left it there and we weren't too sure if it's going to break through on the up, or obviously consolidate for a bit, or come back down. Now, our assumption was if it was to take a short if it came down. And if we had, we would have won. We would have made it. But we didn't. So we weren't awake at whatever time in the morning that was. So this broke through here. And as expected, we don't take a trade as it breaks through, because it could just easily come back up. We wait for confirmation. Now it bounced here, bounced again, and then we would have realized that it had gone past there, but still within this ballpark. So we would have been thinking, thank God we didn't do a short here. But as it turns out, it bounced a few times there and came back down. So when it came back down here, it bounced again. So we probably would have been a bit weary in case it came back up like it was before. But it didn't. It bounced and continued down. Now, we wouldn't have taken a trade here because we weren't sure what it was doing. But once this giant red engulfing candle appeared, we would most definitely have done a short position somewhere here, or possibly watched it and waited. But in hindsight, who knows what we would have done. I tend to panic a bit, so I probably would have seen a large red engulfing candle. May wait for that green one. Not too sure what I would have done, to be honest. If we'd waited for the green one and gone back up and come back down, we would have taken a trade here. If we hadn't waited for the green one and panicked, then we would have just taken a trade here anyway. So it's basically the same place anyway. The stop loss, obviously, if we'd waited, would have been here. With the engulfing candle, would have really had to put it up there. So again, hindsight, it would have been better to wait. What we would have done, don't know. We'd do 2 to 3 or 2 to 5 ratio, and then we'd watch it come down. But we have this green support line here, so we probably would have brought it just above there and then watched it closely. Now, as it was, what time of day was this again? This was 3 o'clock in the morning again. So obviously 3 o'clock in the morning is the time for me to be watching these markets. So it continued down and would have come down here. Now we probably would have moved our stop loss to follow down here, at which point it would come back up and we would have got stopped out, taken some profits. So that's fine. We'd have had 1 to 1.25 profit if we'd carried the stop loss down following it and then it bounced back. If we just left it like we really probably should do, but I probably wouldn't. I probably would have brought the stop loss down with it. If we hadn't and we just left it, then you can see, actually from here, we would have had the full trade of 3.21. So again, hindsight, it's probably best just to leave them sometimes. Okay, so now we didn't take that. So now we need to update where we're up to. So it's come down in this big long run. Looking a bit messy. I want a 5-minute chart, so let's make it 15-minute chart, make it a bit smoother. So it's come down, and you can see we've got these large candles here. Bounced off there, come back down, is bouncing back up. So what we'd be looking for now is confirmation that that's on the way back up and not just bouncing. Because this could just be bouncing anywhere off any of these. It's really messy at the moment. We need to clean this chart up. So we could take that down to a 5-minute chart. There we go. It doesn't really help us a lot. So we're now looking. It's clearly come down, bounced, and we've got this engulfing green. Now, I would want to say, let's draw on what we'd expect. It's going to do two things. It's going to come up and hit this support here and come back down, and then we're going to realise that we're in a consolidation area. Or it could come up to here, come back down and break through. We have a third option here. It could come up to here, break through, bounce, and maybe go up. Obviously trading through them. So the current state of the market, we're going to watch this very closely. And potentially put in a long position if it breaks through here, bounces, and supports. So a long position there maybe. Or a short position. If it bounced there, it'd have to do a confirmation bounce and come back down, but it's going to be a very short trade. So probably leave it, see if it bounces through there and comes back down here, giving us a short position down here. So that's where we stand on that. We're going to put a horizontal line so we know where we're up to, which is here. Oops, okay, I'm not putting a horizontal line. A vertical line we meant to say. So we're currently there. It may well be worth watching this one just to see which direction it's going to go, so we'll come back to that. We'll leave that in the 5-minute chart and keep a close eye on this one. But for now, let's see if we can get the GBPUSD out of the way. See if we can remember where we were up to yesterday. You can see we had a prediction here. This is support and resistance lines. We drew on our pink lines, that's the previous one. Then this was last night's one. It was consolidating with potential going up, which obviously did, or had potential breakthrough support, term resistance come down, which it didn't. So as we can see, it shot up. Wow, yeah, so shame we missed that one. 3:30 in the morning AM was when it reached previous support. It smashed through that, did its bounce, so this is where we would have then taken a longer position after that level there, with stop loss down to there, 2 to 3 thingy. Let's do 2 for now. You can see we would have had another successful trade. So obviously 3 AM is the time I need to be getting up. Not ideal. So if we add some new supports here, now we're just going to have to watch this. Right, so we'll put a vertical line as well so we know where we're up to. There you go. And we'll come back to that later in the day maybe, or tomorrow, and see how it goes. But from this one here now, it's unclear what's going to happen. Is this going to be the new support level? And this is the consolidation zone. Is it going to come back down and break through these minor levels and bounce? It's currently bouncing off the top there. So but the bounce is so far down, we'd have to wait for confirmation right down here, which doesn't give me much.